Go. Inside Feed Punters Club podcast. James Frayne, Ben Travers for a couple of winners on the weekend. Frayne Train Magic Millions Racing is done and dusted. Away game ran third, which was my bet of the day. What were you backing?
I backed a theory, and I thought I was home at the 50, and then just heartbreak. Just for fuck's sake, can I get Crone on the inside where nothing was winning all day, grew wings and 50-1. How good?
It flew. Yeah, good fun. Really good fun. That's all right. We're resilient and we're back. Racing, it's off-season racing. There's a couple of nice horses that maybe didn't make the Summer Carnival in Queensland up to that sort of grade that are going around. So there's a couple of nice bets there. But we'll just start with a quick look at the NRL for 2021. We released today our on Instagram and wherever else we did it, our top 8 predictions for the year. You've got the Panthers as minor premiers again, really stuck your neck out, and West Tigers to finish 8th, which is above their normal 9th position. A few surprises, Cowboys in there. Titans I like, and Manly finishing 3rd.
Just an overall comment, I think this year is going to be really interesting with the fact that all the teams coming back are going to have a full pre-season of the new rules. Hopefully not a disrupted season. So I think you can throw a little bit of some of last season's form book out the window. I think the strength and conditioning coaches would have been some of the hardest working people in the off season, really reshaping some of the forwards that they've got in their squads and whatnot. So, and there's been, as per usual, there's been an absolute stack of off season movement. So, it's always hard picking these top 8s, and sometimes you look like a goose, sometimes you look like a bit of you pulled a bit of a masterstroke. But I thought I balanced it with enough of the heavy hitters and enough of the roughies to sort of strike that middle ground.
Yeah, you've definitely tried that, and you've gone Broncos for the wooden spoon, you arsehole. So interesting.
Full disclosure, I'm a massive Broncos fan, but I said enough times last year in the dark days that I said we'd have to get worse before we get better. And it's not a knock on anyone or on Kev or anything like that, but just who were some of the best players last year? Stags injured coming back halfway through the season, and Fafita gone, and the replacements that they've got, Ben Teo, David Mead, not juicing anyone up too much, I don't think. So
no, when you put it like that, we are in a bit of strife. But anyways, regardless, I've put us in for 8th. And Kev is a friend of the show, so good luck to you, Kev. Parramatta Eels, I've gone for wooden spoon just because I fucking hate Parramatta. And I've gone Storm minor premiers again. I've stuck my neck out. I just think they're just so good at rugby league. It's ridiculous. And not really many surprises in my top 8. It's all on our Instagram if you're wanting to go and check it out. It might be on our Facebook too. I didn't check, but that's the top 8 for the NRL for the year. We're less than 50. I think it's 48 days away now, because it'll be 40. Yeah, by the time this is published, it'll be 48 days away, which is pretty cool. 7 weeks for those who are good at math. Frayne Train punting for the weekend. Everyone's got a bit of a hangover from the Magic Millions, so we've sort of dumbed it down a little bit. I was talking to a mate of mine, just a little bit of punter education, not saying that I'm God's gift to punting, but a bloke who doesn't often punt, and he goes, I'm going to the track, what should I back? And saving me tipping him in every race, I basically said to him, and tell me if you agree with this, right? At most tracks, if you're looking for a winner, go to the market, look what the market's saying, find a horse that's below $10, and then find a barrier that's 1 to 6 at most tracks. Unless you're like Flemington down the straight, I would say most tracks you can go barriers 1 to 6 and a horse in the market below $10, and that's a pretty smart way of punting. Just a little dummies version. Those books they used to do, punting for dummies? If you were just a naive, ignorant punter, I thought that was a good piece of advice. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Won't always work, but just a bit of punter IQ potentially, which might serve some people who rock up to the pub drunk or go to the track and try and pick the pretty colours. Frayne Train racing in Melbourne this week's at Sandown. It's a bit of a shit of a track, and just talking before we hit record, you fucking hate it, so you've got nothing there.
Sandown.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I've got the 2 bets at Sandown for the weekend. I am going to race 4. I'm going to the staying race. I think it's 2,400 metres. And I'm backing WT. So race 4 Sandown, WT. Ran home really well last start at Flemington. Meets a couple of these horses out of that race. Does meet them worse at the weights, but I think it's just a better horse. So it's about $3.80 on play up, and I'll be backing WT in the 4th. And the other bet is the only other one in Melbourne for the day. I'm going to the last race, and I'm backing an informed jockey by the name of Jamie Carr. Now I'm backing a horse called Propel, which has had 4 wins in its career from about 20 odd starts, and all 4 wins have come at 1,000 metres. It's at 1,000 metres on Saturday. First up, the issue is that it's drawn the car park barrier 14. So by the time, hopefully by race 9, I think it is in Melbourne, they're running on at Sandown and there's no mad leader bias. And hopefully Jamie Carr can get a bit of cover and pull this one to the outside and swoop home and win at about $10. So race 9, I think it is, at Sandown on Saturday, Propel for Jamie Carr. And I think it's the Elton Zara team at about $10. So that's it for Melbourne. Just the 2 bets for me, none for Frayne. Doesn't like the track, fair enough. Frayne train in Sydney at Randwick. What have you got for us?
Mate, 1 bet in Sydney. Outback Diva in race 7. Gets Kieran McAvoy. It's about $10, $3.30. It's a Freedman horse. It's ticking a lot of boxes. Unbeaten second up. It gets an extra 200 metres from its 1,200 metre first up run. It's been a bit of money for it. I just like it. I like where it'll map. And I love the extra 200 metres. So get around.
They've actually wound it out to $12 on play up. So for those playing along at home, Frayne train, race 7, number 3, Outback Diva for McAvoy and Freedman, $12. Now that's your 1 selection in Sydney. I've got 3. So I'm going race 4. I'm tipping the favourite here. I think it's almost a good thing. I just think it'll go to the front lead and win. That's race 4, number 9, The Face, for James Innes Jr. and Gerald Ryan. So I think it will go to the front from barrier 4. Can't see too much pressure in the race. Actually thought the danger was I'm Telling You from Melbourne, which gets back. So as long as he can control the tempo here a little bit, I think race 3, did I say? No, race 4, number 9, The Face, is a good bet. In race 7, I actually looked at Outback Diva and I thought that's probably the danger at $12, but I'm going race 7, number 4, Sausage, because I've backed it 1,000 times, and if I didn't back it on Saturday, it'd be filthy. But back on a dry track, back to 1,400, Hugh Bowman goes on. A bit like Propel in Melbourne. If they're running on at Randwick, I'm really keen on it. If they're if there's a bit of a bias towards leaders, then I probably won't back it too heavily, but I'll have a bit each way. So it's paying $8. So that's race 7, number 4.
Sounds like a pretty handy Quinella.
Yeah, let's go that Quinella. That would pay very well. So the Quinella there, race 7 is number 3 and 4, Outback Diva and Sausage. Now, Frayne train. This is my bet of the weekend, race 8 at Randwick. And as I look at the play-up odds right now, it's 15-1. Race 8, number 1, Quokka Jack, the bet of the weekend. $15 on play-up. Great each way bet, but I think it'll just win. And here's why, Frayne train. This is a horse that's competed in group races. Sometimes it's been competitive, other times it has not, granted, but it's clearly the best horse in the race. And there's a horse in the barrier inside Cradle Mountain in the race that will go to the front. And I think Quokka Jack will sit outside the lead, and I think they'll control the tempo of the race pretty well. So Quokka Jack back on a dry surface, up to 1,400. Last start was first up over an unsuitable 1,200 metres and ran a couple of lengths off 11.11, which won at the Gold Coast last week. So I'm backing Josh Parr, who's won 4 times on the horse, to take him to outside the lead here at 15-1 and give an almighty kick in the straight. And I will be cheering my tits off at about 4 o'clock or whatever time it is, Brisbane time on Saturday. So race 8, number 1, Quackerjack, the bet of the weekend. Frayne Train.
What are you doing with the winnings?
I think probably a small island or a house at nursery or something. 15-1. I mean, I'll be out and about on my play up cash card if that gets up for sure. So yeah, it's I think it's a really good bet. Great each way bet. I think it's the favourites are down in the weights, which I get. They look good, like they're well weighted, they've drawn well. But I think Quackerjack's just a better horse. It trialled and beat Viridine in the trial comfortably. Like they were just both hard held. Viridine's a $1.80 favourite for Moonee Valley on Friday night. Admittedly in a shit house race, but really keen Quackerjack at 15-1. If this lobs, inside feed probably goes global, international, almost overnight. I would suggest global and international are the same thing, but we go big overnight. All right, that's the bet of the weekend. Now, racing in Brisbane, Frayne Train, where we're normally really strong, is at Doomben. I'm very wary of the card at Doomben. But you've got a couple of winners there.
Yeah. First one, race 3. This is like looking at the form lines. They're coming from here, there, and everywhere. There's Ipswich horses, Toowoomba horses, a couple of Metro horses. But one that I want to have a little bit of a spec at about the $9-10 mark each way is number 12, Champagne Auntie. Steve Tregay horse, last start up in Toowoomba. Had a really odd sort of race where there was a tearaway leader and it sort of trucked the whole field up, kept chugging along the hill, fought off a few back markers and then still got it done. So I want to see how it goes in Brisbane. I think it'll from the good gate sort of settle just off the speed. I think there'll be a couple that'll go pretty helpful leather up front. Hopefully that gives it a good chance to sort of peel off leaders' heels and be in the finish at about $9-10 and $3 a place.
Yeah, so that's race 3, Doomben, number 12 for Frayne Train, Champagne Auntie, and $9.50. Champagne Auntie, I should say, $9.50 at the moment, mate, on play up. What else have you found for us? And
then race 9, last one of the card, one that I'm actually quite keen on is number 11, Roman Aureus. Just looking, the stats on this horse is just coming up. Tick, tick, tick. So 3 from 5 at the track, 3 from 4 at the distance, unbeaten track distance. If there's any rain, if he gets into the soft range, which I don't think there's much forecast, but you never know with the odd thunderstorm and the rate that Doomben dries. Got a decent barrier. It'll sit midfield. And I just think it's a good bet at $6. I think it's $465 a field in that race. Couple of decent horses drawn outside it, couple that'll go forward. So, give it strength.
Yeah, now that you've made that case, I agree. I think that's a really good bet. Race 9, number 11, Roman Aureus for Frayne Train. Just no jockey listed at the moment, so hopefully they're not looking to scratch. That would be my only thing I'd say. Unless there's...
I think Larry Cassidy's the usual.
Yeah, he normally rides it. Okay,
stable. Cool. Hopefully he's on. I don't know if he is. But like Desert Lord's a danger, but it's got barrier 19. So absolute car park at Doomben. Can't win from 19 at Doomben on the 1350. So
cool.
yeah.
I've just got the one in Brisbane. Race 2, getting the money or the cash hopefully really early. Race 2, number 7, Love Express for me. Ran home behind Yowdash 2 weeks ago at the Gold Coast, which... Yowdash, of course, came out and ran. I think it ran second last week again at the Gold Coast. Either way, really good form. Stepping up to the 1600 for the first time, I just think it's a really shit race. And I think Robbie Frad, fit horse. I think it's a really nice bet at about $4.60 at the moment with play up. The 2 favourites, Liguelate, I think it is, and Prometheus. Prometheus I actually backed last start, and I think it's still running. Liguelate, I think it just needs an easy race, and I think Love Express can upset the 2 favourites here. Actually, I think the danger is actually Symphonic Dancer for the Heathcote stable, which I think's been something like 60s into 30s. And either way, I think that race is just the market's wrong. So I'm going to back Love Express, and I might even have a $1 each way on Symphonic Dancer as well. So race 3, number 7, race 2, number 7, Love Express. The only other one, Frayne Train, I've got for the weekend is over in Adelaide, a horse that we backed as the bet of the week 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe 3. That's race 5 at Gawler, number 2, Taken Off. It literally gets almost the same race as it did last time. There should be good speed on. Kayla Crowther will just sit off them and she'll go past them in the straight. Be about 260, 270 on play up. Really good bet. Denied over whether it or Quackerjack in Sydney would be my best of the weekend. And just at the price, I had to go with the big Quackerjack. And if it wins, I'll be nude, which would be great. So that's it. That one, for those playing along at home, is race 5, number 2, taken off. Frayne Train, you've got $100 to spend. Your current balance is minus 200, I think.
Yeah, I haven't won it. I haven't won anything.
No, minus 100. Because we gave you 100, so you're minus 100. Very unlucky last week with the theory. What are you going with this week?
I'm going 50 on the nose of Roman Aureus and going 25 each way on Outback Diva at about $10, $3. So hopefully I'm in the positives. Hopefully big time with both of them getting up at decent prices.
Big time. I really like the Roman Aureus, but I think that's if he can get a bit of cover. Where are they, Doomben? Yeah, if it was at Eagle Farm, I'd double the bet.
But he goes really well at Doomben. Three from 4. 3 from 5. 3 from 5.
I hope it's 4 from 6. Cool. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going 50 on taken off at Gawler, just because I think it'll win. Race 5, number 2 at Gawler. So 50 on at 260, and then I'm not going to be a loser. I'm just going to back Quackerjack straight out. 50 on the nose, Quackerjack. So 50 on at 15s to make 750, and probably end our punting virtual match straight away.
It'll be early showers for me.
Right, so that's this weekend of racing. What else we got going on? There's BBL going on right now. The Heat are playing the Strikers. They need about 200 to win. Fingers crossed. I don't know what the score is. And then Frayne Train, as we said, 7 weeks until the NRL and I think 8 weeks till the AFL start. We will be covering all of that on the Inside Feed Punters Club podcast. Frayne Train, if there's nothing else, I'll probably convince you to go to the track maybe on Saturday, so I might see you then. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week.
All right. I'll see you later, Trav.
Thanks, Frayne.